Welcome everyone to episode 78 of Raw Sport. We're back with another cracker with the man himself, Mr. Rick Glazer. Ricky, how are you? So how's things?
Good, pal. Good. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Ricky, lots to talk about today. We'll get straight into the action. We're seeing a huge transition in the age of boxing, the history of boxing. And based on our conversation last week, we've heard more, we have more information about what's happening and where things are going and where things are heading. Now, before we get into that, how are you this week and how are you feeling?
Good. Everything's back to normal. I'm finished with my sicknesses. I had the flu. I had the sinus infection, and I was sick for 5 weeks. But I was on some of your shows, and some of them I had to miss. But I'm back to normal, completely. I'm ready to tear off heads and shit necks, like always, like before I was sick.
You seem to have a bit of a spring about you. Is that because the United States has got a new president or?
Yeah, that lot of reasons. A lot of good things happen in my life, professionally and personally. Got a great wife, and it always when you have a great wife, that always helps. I wake up and I go to bed at night excited to wake up in the morning. I wake up in the morning excited, and just business is great. Wife's wonderful. Everything's great. I couldn't ask for anything more than I have.
Fantastic. All right. The Saudi Arabian Boxing League initiative. Now, more talk has come out about the strategic vision of Turki Alalshikh and the dynamite partnership with Dana White and Ari Emanuel from Endeavour. What I'm hearing is there's an acquisition strategy on the table, and it's been reported by multiple sources. Apparently, it's going to involve acquiring the big promotional companies like Eddie Hearn, Top Rank, PBC, if they exist, Golden Boy, and Queensberry. This would pretty much centralize boxing under one banner. Have you heard anything? What are your thoughts?
I didn't hear that at all. I didn't hear anything about any acquisitions of the promoters. I know he has a great relationship with Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, and Oscar. A solid relationship with Bob Arum. I didn't hear anything about any purchases of any of the promoters.
They
That
reckon
was it. The original thing was about a year and a half ago, but it sort of like he said no, it wasn't true.
because I reckon it's a deal where it's going to be the pathway into that boxing league that they've been talking about. They reckon it's a $4 to $5 billion
Well,
acquisition.
I keep hearing the boxing league is going to be prospects. That's what I keep hearing. Not 10 and 12 round fighters, young kids, like 6 round guys, 4 and 6 round guys starting out, young guys. I never heard anything other than that.
And I've heard
I
that's
might
going to
be all
be
wrong. I may have not. I may have missed something, heard wrong. Don't get me wrong, but I keep hearing it's young fighters.
the other thing that's come out about that is that it's top 15 prospects
Well,
fighting.
there's no such thing. Wait. There's no such thing as a top 15 prospect. Okay, if they're in the top 15 in the world, they're not prospects; they're world contenders.
Top 15 contenders. Sorry,
Right,
I'll
right.
correct myself.
I never heard that. To be honest with you, I heard it was young kids with like 4 and 6 round starter kids is what I heard. I don't know, and I don't know. That's all I've heard, and I don't. Other than that, I don't know anything more than that.
Wow, there you go. All right, we'll keep going then. There's not much more that we can add to that. Turkey Al-Sheikh is on this mission to bring
I'll
down.
tell you what. Excuse me for interrupting. I tell you what I will do. I'll look into it this week, and we'll go over this next Monday night. That should have some updated information. You caught me off a little flat-footed on that one because I've heard differently, but I haven't asked recently.
Well, that's my job, is to stun you. But anyway, Turkey Al-Sheikh is on this mission to lower the pay-per-view fee, make it accessible for everyone in boxing. Our friends at PBC live off that model. They have some upcoming pay-per-view fights. what's going to happen? Like, where are we
They're
going
in
with this?
trouble. I wrote it today on Twitter. PBC, Al Heyman and PBC are passe. You can't. They're not going to be selling 79.95 pay-per-views for these fights. Turkey wants to charge 19.95 to 29.95. That's what he's been charging. I don't know how they're going to charge all that money. Doesn't. I don't see it happening.
I mean, he's got David Benavidez versus Morrell, and normally what they charge is some ridiculous figure of $70, $70
Right.
or so. Who's
Right.
going to pay that? I mean,
Very few people, and with Turkey's basically putting them out of business. That's when he came out with that $29.95, $19.95 to $29 pricing. I said it's going to kill the PBC. That'll be their death quell, and it is their death quell.
Wow. I think the days are very, very bleak and dark for PBC moving forward unless they can evolve somehow. I find
And
it very
may I add,
hard.
thankfully, they're bleak and dark.
All right. Turkey again has been very active in his fighter negotiations over the last week or so. From what's even before that, but over the last week, things have really heated up. Two fighters that actually, we'll start with these two. One of them is very, very close to the team that you deal with. Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero confirmed. Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez confirmed. And then apparently the winners will fight each other. What do you know about these matchups?
It's going to take place, I believe, in May in Times
May.
Square in New York. And it's going to be 400,000 people there for free. And it'll be on not only in person, but it'll be on the big screen, the big screens all over Times Square that you see. And there's going to be 400,000, 500,000 people there, they expect.
Why is that?
It's going to be huge. Well, he wants to pump up boxing again in America and in a high media market. And also he wants to pump up the Ring magazine because it's all going to be done in conjunction with the Ring magazine. So he's trying to pump up the
Are you
Ring
saying
magazine.
It's going to be free or what? What's the
free? Now, I'm not. I don't know about free. It may be on pay-per-view or regular DAZN or something like that, but it's not. It's going to be free in person. It's going to be free admission in person.
Wow. Free admission.
Mm-hmm. That's what I heard. For no admission, I should say.
So outside Madison Square Garden, there's
no, nothing to do with Madison Square Garden. Times Square.
Times Square.
Yes.
How are they going to do that?
Outdoors. It's going to be free. And people gather around for miles when they can watch teleprompters in midair. They can watch it, boom, if they're close enough. If not, they can watch it in the teleprompters. It's going to create a huge crowd and get people interested in boxing again. I think it's a brilliant idea.
Let's go back a step. This fight night is happening in Times Square.
Yes, in New York City, correct.
In New York City. All those screens, the advertising screens, they're going to be booked out for this fight.
Yes, including the live portion. So when the 3 fights are going on, they're going to be showing the fights.
Jeez.
It's going to be amazing. I'm telling you, this guy's very smart. This guy's a great marketeer. I mean, other people have thought about these things, but they never had the money to carry them out. Don't get me wrong.
So we're expecting roads closed and everything.
Yes.
We might have to head over there, mate, just to experience it, to see what the hell's going on. Wow.
Well, you've come over for less reason than that.
There's always time for, especially in May, nice weather starts. All right, Devin Haney, Jose Ramirez, they've apparently agreed to their bout because they're both expected to win these bout. And for VADA testing, have you heard anything about the actual conditions of their bout?
I haven't heard. I haven't heard any of the conditions. No, I've heard nothing about the actual conditions, but I assume they're 12-round fights, both of them. Mm-hmm. I know Pitbull didn't want to fight. There's people negotiated for him, but they never talked to Pitbull. It sounds like to me. I don't know. I didn't get the exact scoop, but
That was the memo that people was meant to be fighting Ryan.
Yeah, well, it didn't hammer out too well.
Why did they was there a fight
I
about
think
money
I
or
think his people. No, I just think his people were negotiating like he wanted the fight, assuming that they would take the fight. He's probably never turned down a fight in his life, and all of a sudden he didn't want the fight. So it was one of those deals that they just assumed he wanted it. Which that happens. That happens. That happens a couple times a year in boxing. It's not so.
was he
That
offered good
happens
money?
occasionally.
Was he offered good?
I don't know what the money was, but I'm sure it was great money.
Okay.
Probably more money he's ever seen. How's that?
Wow. We have another big card moving forward. Ben and Eubank, apparently going to be happening in April. Well, what are your thoughts on that bout?
I think it makes complete sense for both fighters. I think it makes complete sense for both promoters, meaning Eddie Hearn with Conor Ben and Ben
Ben Shalom.
Shalom with Ben Shalom with Chris Eubank. It makes sense for the people of Great Britain. It's a fight that people want to see. I think it sells out. I think it does tremendous numbers on pay-per-view. I think it's a fight that the country deserves, wants, and they love boxing over there. And I believe that it'll do tremendously at the gate. I think it'll be an excellent fight. I think that Conor Ben has not been explosive since that he's been
Off the drugs.
yeah, well, check closer for PEDs, let's put it that way to you. And he hasn't been explosive in either fight. And he went the distance with two just general guys, mundane guys, and I think it's going to be a very good fight. And if Chris Eubank has a shortcoming, he probably don't know if he's got the best whiskers in the world. So I think it's a very good fight. It's got a rehydration clause, so Eubank doesn't get too big. But Ben and Eubank is going to be a big fight over there.
Both don't have many more options, really, if we're going to be honest.
Who doesn't? What?
Both of them, I believe, they're at their crossroads.
Well, Conor Ben could have fought Mario Barros for the WBC welterweight title.
He's not going to make the money that's going to make him this.
No. Neither will make the money in any other fight than this one. Matter of fact, if Ben wins and there's no rematch, if Eubank wins the rematch, he might end up he could possibly end up with a Canelo fight. Possibly.
Eubank.
Yeah.
Speaking of Canelo, perfect segue. Crawford and Canelo has been discussed a ton this week. We've seen Turkey jump on a call with Canelo, sitting with Crawford. There's lots of talk about no rehydration clauses. The fight happening later in the year, I believe in September.
Yes.
What have you heard? Anything that's not mainstream? Anything
No rehydration. 68. No rehydration clauses. Crawford wants to fight. Canelo wants to fight. Just a matter of working out the details. And I think with the kind of money that fight will generate, and the kind of money that that Turkey was willing to provide both fighters, the fight's going to happen. The fight's in the process of happening right now. Is the best way I can put it. I don't see anything stopping that fight from happening.
Vegas?
I would assume the best assumption.
Interesting, because they also announced a few more shows, but they didn't actually determine who's fighting on them. They have another US show.
Well, remember the fight's not till September. We're only in January.
Yeah, I know, but they announced like the whole year of shows that they're doing.
Well, I think they're going to add some more shows to it. That's the best way I know.
They've announced another show in May, a US show, another 5 vs 5 Matchroom versus Queensberry. They've announced a
who will. There's one working on one for I think June for Golden Boy versus Eddie Hearn's fight at Matchroom.
Yep, they're saying Eddie Hearn versus Matchroom. I might have missed that, but they're saying Matchroom Queensberry tournament 5-on-5, a US show. Discussions in August as well for a card involving Warren and Hearn. October, they reckon there's going to be a huge Riyadh season opening ceremony with a massive show on there. another big event in December. So yeah, lots of action happening. Also, there's the Golden Boy and Matchroom one. I just can't remember what date it was, but it was announced
They
as
didn't.
well.
They didn't have a date yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was announced. So you can see he's bringing all the worlds together already. They're fighting. Their fighters are fighting one another. The only one who's really not engaging too much is, I'd say, PBC and Top
Well,
Rank.
they're gonna use their fighters like victims, as opponents like victims. Like they put Rolly in, and they were gonna try to put Pitbull in. Just gonna use them as victims. They're not giving them any shows.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Tyson Fury announced his retirement last week as well. How serious do you take that?
Well, he hasn't unretired yet, has he?
But he's going to fight Anthony Joshua. Why does he keep doing this?
I don't know. Maybe he thinks he's going to get more money that way. Maybe he feels people feel sorry for him and drag him out of retirement.
But they haven't held money back off him. I mean, he's been offered a ton of money from Turkey's looked after him. He's had a ton of money thrown at him.
You know what? He's been a great fighter for a while now, but he's been an enigma as a person along the way. Who knows what the fuck he's doing?
Yeah, he's quite the character, isn't he? There's been some innovation in boxing gear actually this week. I wanted to bring up to you. A few different outlets have announced that there's been an introduction of smart boxing gear, gloves equipped with sensors, punch metrics, and all these new solutions that could potentially lead to being used in the actual fight nights. What are your thoughts of these? We're seeing Turkey's AI judge in I think in the Fury fight.
I don't have enough knowledge of it to speak of it, in a professional standpoint, but from a generalization standpoint, every little bit helps boxing. Whether it's AI judges, whether it's censored equipment, whether it's the Ring magazine making a big comeback now, with Turkey buying a percentage of 10 or 13. I heard it was 13%. People are saying it's 10. I don't know, but whatever. It's all going to help boxing, and that's all I'm about. I want to help boxing. I want to see people help boxing. I want to help boxing, and if it's helping boxing, I'm all for it.
The WBO is having issues with Fondora and Spence. That's not happening anymore. Where's Fondora going? I mean, what's this story? He won the title. He hasn't fought since. What a disaster!
I blame that on PBC. I blame on that nobody but PBC. The kid's been well. I've seen the kid multiple times. He's ready for a fight. He's been ready for a fight. It's PBC fucking his career up.
It's been how long now since he beat Zoo?
Right. Done nothing. Zoo's fought once and lost.
Yeah, Zoo's on the decline, unfortunately. So
yeah, he's on the back nine. Thanks to Matt Rose and George, the other one, George Rose, and the other genius, Glenn Jennings, and man, there's really smart people over there. You never got a rematch clause. The champion without a rematch clause in a voluntary title defense. Brilliant. Fighting a guy 6'5" and left-handed. Brilliant.
Yeah, that one there's never made sense, and so many question marks around them. But you know what? We wish him all the best.
I know I have the answers for the question marks. 3 fucking nitwits.
Jeez, there you go. What are we gonna do with Fondora? Where's he going? Who's he gonna fight? Every time they throw a name up, they schedule Spence, cancels, delays, cancels. Where's he going?
No, Spence is going nowhere. Fondora, they got to come up with an opponent that the BC and the BO will approve.
Yeah, I think this is really hurting his career now. He's not going to progress much, and I think if he does come back, he's that rusty that he might even lose it. But anyway, all right, we'll keep going. Ring Magazine now, a lot more active, a lot more interviews, a lot more, happening, a lot more involvement. They're starting to break a lot of the news. How are we going to see, like, what impact do you think that would have on the sport? Who's the biggest losers to the who's going to gain? Who's going to lose the most with them gaining so much leverage and power?
Who's they?
Ring Magazine.
I don't see a loser in that whole bunch. To be honest with you, I think it's a win-win-win
So
for
you reckon
everybody.
Ring Magazine comes in, starts getting pushing out all this great content, and people don't walk away from other networks and platforms?
No, I think what's going to happen is that that I think with the ring getting bigger and bigger, has name value, brand recognition. I really believe that's going to help all the big sites, whether it's Fight News, whether it's Boxing Scene. It's going to help them all the big ones. It'll hurt the little ones because the little ones will have less content to display, but the big ones will always have like Ring will, Fight News will always have the results, the weigh-ins. See, the Fight News doesn't have that many interviews. It's about but it's about weigh-ins, announcements, and fight results, and controversies. Where the Boxing Scene concentrates on the bigger fight results and interviews, and I don't think it's going to hurt either of those two. Now, could it hurt the smaller ones?
Okay.
Yes, but it's not going to hurt the big ones.
What about the likes of IFL and all that crew? IFL TV. I'm just trying to highlight here.
I don't think it'll hurt. I don't think it'll hurt.
Is Ring Magazine's gain some other players' loss?
No other players lost. Smaller outlets.
And by the way, Boxing Scene and Pro Box, same people. So it works hand in hand there. I mean, that was a genius stroke by Gary Jonas actually when he purchased Boxing Scene.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pro Box, big card this weekend. Are you in touch with it?
I'm sorry.
Pro Box has a big card this weekend. Sorry, not weekend. This week, Friday, January 24th.
I haven't paid much attention to it yet, but I will tomorrow. I just had such a busy day today. Between the inauguration, business was off the charts today. A lot of conference calls, and I didn't concentrate on anything but what was thrust in front of me. And of course, the inauguration of President Trump. I went to a big Republican party viewing party.
Are you
held by my town Republican Party?
Are you a Republican, Rick?
I got a red shirt on, don't I?
By your Twitter feed.
I'm a conservative Republican. I'm a conservative Republican, except when it comes to marriage.
Geez. All right, I'm going to do something different this week. I'm going to read out a comment. We have a viewer who is constantly going after me and you, which is fine. I'm going to read one about me. Getting Ahmed to talk about DAZN was impossible. Now News Corp has 3% stake in DAZN. He can stop talking about DAZN. I mean, we always talk about DAZN. We talk about the latest developments. We talk about what's happening in the industry. I don't understand what this guy wants. And his username.
I don't know. I wish I listen. Yeah. Listen, as I once said about women, I wish I could satisfy them all. You just can't.
Anyway, Liam Roskell 8055. We talk about what's happening, my friend. There's no bias here. That's why it's called Raw Sport. We got a proud standing Republican who voices things the way he sees it. Just go to his Twitter feed, and you got same thing here. No one's paying me any money. Let me just put that straight out here. So anyway, that's all, Ricky. From me, I think we've sort of summed up the week. Anything from you, buddy, before we wrap things up?
No, looking forward to next Monday night. I will look into what that league is about, what they're looking at and stuff, and I will report back next Monday
I
night
was
from my
ready to go to
sources.
town on that league with you, like really get in nitty gritty. But
I will. I'll know more next week. I just haven't. Well, last I heard it was prospects, but if you're telling me it's top 15 contenders, maybe it is. If it is, it's going to be huge. But I heard it was the younger guys, but we'll see.
all right then. Thank you very much, Ricky. Thank you to all those who tuned in. Take care, everyone. We'll catch you all on the next episode of Raw Sport. Take care, Rick. See you later, mate.
Thank you for having me.